Well, hello, dear viewer. 'Tis Jonah here, your loving uncle, drinking beer so you guys don't have to. We're doing another one today uh, from the Angels of the North. This is kind of the follow-on from yesterday because I did say that I was going to do another beer, and I never quite got round to it, which is a bit of a shame. So everything from yesterday's video remains the same. There's an article about Northern Monk. It's really interesting, etc., etc. Have a look, dear viewer, at yesterday's video, and then you will find out all about the article. It's a 4-page article in the Ferment magazine from Beer 52. But I wanted to show you where Northern Monk are. So this is the north, I guess, of England, and they're based in Leeds, which is here. Manchester's over here. My family are from up here, actually, probably off the top here, so we're proper north. And if you look down here, Sheffield, which is supposedly in the north, that for me is right in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Oh, and this little thing here apparently is not the north, but Sheffield is. Weird, eh? Work that out. Anywho, have a look at yesterday's video, as I said, because there's quite a good article about Northern Monk and how things have changed, branding has changed, all of that kind of good stuff. And if you live in the UK, you can get versions of Northern Monk really easily. The supermarkets, the various different supermarkets, have at least sort of 4 or 5 beers in each supermarket, and sometimes they're different ones. So you could probably get a core range of about 8 or 9 beers just by going to supermarkets. And if you contact Northern Monk, you can get all the special beers and all that kind of jazz. Not difficult to get hold of, and they're definitely a craft brewery, shall we say. And this is the one we're looking at today. Hopefully it will focus. There we go. It is the Eternal Session IPA, my favourite nondescript style of beer. Basically, I don't think there is such a thing as a Session IPA. I think it's a pale ale. You get rid of the session bit and get rid of the I bit, and it's just a PA in my book. But who am I? Just to be a judge, just a gnarly old bastard. Anyway, comes in at 4.1% ABV, so it could be a lot worse. 4.1's not too bad. I've said it many times, dear viewer. I usually say 5% is my kind of mark in the sand, my line in the sand. Look at that, there's some coastline and wind farms and all sorts of things. Light citrus, refreshing, blah, blah, blah. And this beer has actually won some awards. I don't know if it says on here, we shall see. Hey, up north, when we like a session, we always like hops and all this kind of shit. Yeah, right. And this is canned by Kieran Shear. Said, I got a splinter in my arm and it's still there. Okay, well, that's quite cool that they name different people that work in the brewery. I think that's pretty good. Hey up, we're Northern Monk, and a few years ago we set about to brew some of the best beer in the country from a damp cellar up in the north, in the Midlands, you mean. We didn't have much, but sorry, something came into my mind there. But with support of friends and family, we got £5 grand. We came a long way, blah, 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 blah. Boring. Tell me about the beer itself. It doesn't really say that much. I know that this has Simcoe and it has Centennial in it as well, which Centennial is my favourite hop of all time. Right, what we got? Ingredients: water, barley, hops, and yeast. Rhine Hopskavot followed there, which is cool. Blah blah blah. And I quite like the muted blue tones. I don't actually know what the coastal scene has to do with Leeds, because Leeds, as I just showed you on the map, is right in the middle of England. Bang, you probably bang right in the middle. I think the actual geographic middle of the country is somewhere a little bit further south, in Oxfordshire somewhere, and Leeds is in what is it, South Yorkshire? I think it is. So it's AOP. That's what they put on the can as well. And if you watched Monty Python, or if you've got access to well, you're watching this on YouTube, so after you watch this video, dear viewer, put in Monty Python Yorkshiremen, and there's an absolute classic where they talk about, I worked down mine for 25 hours a day, and I got killed when I got home, if I were lucky. And then someone else stands up and says, you were lucky. I had it much worse than you. And that's the Northern mentality. But being from, or my family being from Northumberland, like proper up north, we're talking sort of Hexham way. You cannot go much more north without hitting Scotland. So sorry, but people in Leeds, you're fucking southerners compared to me, mate. So piss off. Right, so let's try this beer. Of course, I'm only joking, dear viewer. And I don't live anywhere near there. I live in the south now, so I'm a southern Jesse. But my roots are up north, so, and I do have roots in Scotland too, so that's a country more north than Leeds. So I've got this chip on my shoulder about people in Sheffield and Leeds saying, oh, we're northern people. You're not northern at all. It really gets my goat. Anyway, let's see what we get. I'm going to go for a very gentle start because the last couple of beers I've had have been ridiculous, like head monster kind of carbonation type bomb things, and it's messing with my mojo. This one has, I'm going to go a bit slower, has got a reasonable head on there, man, but I think we're going to be all right today. This is going to work out for a good 3 finger at least worth of head, but I can drink through that. Wow, and look at that. Look, if it focuses on the bubbles, which I don't think it will, let's see if it focuses on the head. There is like a raging storm going on underneath there. Come on, focus. Oh, it's not going to, but you can see the rising bubbles from the bottom of there is absolutely crazy. And look, the head is actually escaping the glass. But we have a problem because, oh, come on, dude. If it focuses, I will show you, dear viewer. There we go. The bubbles are massively large. That is a problem because bubbles should be small. They should be fine. Let's see if it will show you. Yeah, there you go. It's not so bad now, but it's definitely got some stuff raising. And this is not a nucleated glass, dear viewer. This is just a normal glass. Let me see. I'm going to get beer. I'm going to get foam on me today, but I'm not going to do another magic trick because that would be silly. So I'm going to pull out my bandana of doomers. Look, it's getting bigger and bigger. That is outrageous. So I'm gonna smell the head. I was gonna say 4 fingers, but look, it's gone out the top, so that's fist. It's a fist of head. Absolutely nuts. And it is, if the carbonation was all right, that would be just a mild haze, because I can kind of see shapes and things through there, but it's definitely not a clear beer. It is definitely not a bright beer. And for people that live in the north, having a bright beer, and this includes Yorkshiremen, bright beer is good, hazy beer is bad. That's how people used to think. So I'm getting lovely kind of orangey type fruits. So that could be orange, maybe more blood orange, maybe more tangerine or satsuma type, Christmassy type things, which is good. Ooh, got some on my nose already. That's what this is for, man. Mandana. Right, so it is fruity. The other thing is, it should, it does have a bit of that Centennial kind of thing, which is connected to Cascade. It's connected to things like Citra, sort of. You do have a bit of greenery, but I always get, especially in the taste, a kind of bubblegummy kind of thing. And I mean hubba bubba, like American bubblegum, not the kind of stuff you get over here. We're talking proper bubblegum. Actually, weirdly, France is quite into bubblegum as well. Although I have not been away from the country for years. Okay, it's time to dive in. This is definitely going to get a bit messy, so please forgive me. But look at that. That is like a European style beer. If you go to Europe, that's the kind of beer, especially places like Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, that kind of stuff. That's the type of beer you get. If you ask for a beer, that's what you're going to get. If you ask for a beer without foam, they use a special tap purely for people that don't like foam. If you go in and they guess you're English, they'll probably give it from the tap that doesn't give you extra foam. But hey, drinking through the foam is a beer art. So that's what I'm going to attempt today. Cheers and beers, dear viewer. By the way, please click like if you've liked this review. Think about subscribing, all that kind of jazz. It really does help me out. So thank you once in advance. Cheers and beers. And I've got a big tash and a big beard, so this is going to go pear-shaped. Oh, not as bad as I thought. Oh, that is lovely. That is properly nice. When Simcoe first hit the scene as a hop, I didn't like it at all. But it's in so many different beers these days, I've kind of got accustomed to it, and I'm kind of liking the kind of juiciness that it gives. And like I say, Centennial is one of my absolute favourites. And this has got all things from those two hops. We do have the juiciness, we've got oranginess, we've got a bit of citrus, grapefruit. We've got the greenery. The sort of hedgerow, the wet kind of cut grass after a rainstorm. Hedgerow, green, walking through a green lane, shall we say, taking your dog for a walk, that kind of thing. This is actually refreshing because lots of beers that have had Simcoe in have also had wheat and oats in. And this beer doesn't have that, which is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with wheat and oats, but I don't know why, but the craft scene have kind of latched onto it, and it's almost like unless they put them out in, it's not the modern style. This is 100% on point for a modern style, but it doesn't have that creaminess, which is really, really refreshing and nice. Something a bit different. It is a fresh beer. There's no. It's kind of a bit thin. That's one thing. But it's a pale beer, so I don't mind that at all. If you have a friend who likes lager, something like this, nice, mellow, it's got a lot of fruitiness in, but it's not very bitter. It's not high on the IBUs. This would be a fantastic introduction for someone that's like, oh, I don't really like ales, I just like lager. And I have to say, these days, especially with the younger people, there aren't people do drink a lot of lager still to this day. However, a lot of people do go over to IPAs and things like this. So if you saw this in the pub, definitely get a few of those, give them out to your friends as well. Really nice beer. Is it my favourite? Nah, not really. Purely because of the Simcoe. But for style, for being on point with the trends at the moment. This beer is spot on. So it's a great beer. It's a lovely beer. Oh, I'll probably have to take a marking point off, purely for using the Session IPA on the can, because that really is nonsense. So you're going to lose some points from me, Northern Monk. You're not doing that well after yesterday, because that beer was just crazy. Just not good. This is a really good beer. And to be honest, I should have had this last night, because it really would have cheered me up, and this review would have been out yesterday, if that makes sense. But we are into the weekend. We're on Saturday, so yeah. Look at that. Has it got even more hazy? I think it has. There's a lot more kind of bubbles coming up from the bottom as well. Lovely colour too. Fluffy white, pure as the driven snow. White head. Not much lacing going on, which is interesting. That could be partly due to the carbonation levels and having the large bubbles as opposed to the really fine bubbles, which tend, from my point of view, they tend to kind of stick to the glass better. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's kind of what I thought. So from the second pour and a swirling of the glass, we've still got, you know, way over a finger's head, which is kind of the standard for me. This head is not going to disappear, so, you know, fantastic. Just initially, that carbon level, and I have had this in the fridge for like 3 or 4 days, the carbonation level a bit too high. And I think, if I remember, yeah, it's on the side, isn't it? Best before May 24. So it's nowhere near its best before date. But yeah, it could have been an exploding can. If I hadn't have had this in the fridge, this would have exploded on me. So yeah, I don't like that. What I do, dear viewer, is I give things a gentle squeeze. Oh, I've just realised I haven't done a photo, so I better change that. So let's do that now. Lucky I've got some beer left in the glass. There we go. Cheers and beers. Right, let me finish this off. It's turned into a bit of a longer review. Sorry about that, dear viewer. But hopefully you guys are doing well over the weekend. Come on. Whoa, and I'm left with foam in the glass. So there we go. That is the Eternal Session IPA from the Northern Monk at 4.1% ABV. If you see this, give it a try, because I think this is a really good beer. And I'm not usually one for Session IPAs. Nice, light, fluffy white head, lovely aromas of sort of orangey type citrus fruits. Quite sharp, quite thin, not too much alcohol, lovely flavors all the way through, not creamy, which is not a bad thing, but that's just a descriptor of this particular beer. Pardon me, dear viewer. Fantastically lovely beer. Get some. That's all I've got to say. Until the next time, dear viewer. Oh, in fact, tomorrow, I've got something special lined up for tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. And until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and Unclejona will return, like James Bond, with more beer reviews real soon.